Hi, I'm Mary. Thanks for joining me. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my Tilda Girl quilts. I am working on the Henhouse quilt, and I'm hoping that I can share with you a few tips to make it a little easier for you. I know when I first looked at this pattern I found it very intimidating, but after working on my first block I came up with some ways of organizing it that I found very helpful for me, and I'm hoping that it might be helpful for you too. To some of you people who have been quilting a long time, this might seem like a little overkill or a simple way to do it, but I found it works best for me, and so I'm sharing that, and if you find something out of this, that'll be great. This is one of my Tilda Henhouse blocks. It's huge. These measure at 22 by 25 finished. Isn't it great? I am using their Jubilee line for this quilt. So I have to be really careful because my fabrics are directional too in some of these. But that's okay. I like a challenge. So the first thing you need to do is go to the Tilda World website and download the free pattern. And they are free. And I went ahead and printed mine and put them in these binders with the sleeves just to make it a little easier to keep track and not have my pattern get destroyed. But you'll see each pattern lists the pieces by alphabet, the sizes, and they give it in both inches and the metric system, which is pretty cool. Now, one thing that I found was that the blocks for both the house and the girl were lettered from A to Z. So when I made my first block, it got a little confusing because there were multiples of A and B and C and so forth, but in different sizes and colors. And I realized, okay, I need a better way to do this because the Henhouse block A might be one size and one color, and the girl block A is another. And so what I did was I got out my little clips and lots of little pieces of paper, and I wrote down the letter of what I needed, the size, what it was going to, and how many I would need per block. So for instance, these are the hen blocks for the house block because there's a hen in the girl block too. And for an example, this is piece J. So I wrote down J, 1, which is the block only needs 1 piece per block, the size, and then I wrote down on the bottom that it was for the Henhouse block. And that way I could keep the Henhouse hen and the girl hen organized and separate. I did that the same for the roof pieces. I put down the letters and what they went to. And I also made a note in the in the Henhouse block to watch the direction of the hen because the hen moves around in the blocks if you want it to, and I did. In the pattern, in one block, she's using 2 colors, and in one color she's got the hen in the top window, and in the other block she's got it in the bottom window. I'm actually using 3 colors, so for my third color, depending on where the block goes, I'm going to have the hen probably in different places on that block. But I did the same thing for all the Henhouse pieces. I wrote down that it was the house. I wrote down the letter, the number of how many pieces I needed of this size for just one block, and the size. Even though it's written down in the book, I felt like I needed to write it down again just to like triple check myself because I really am afraid of missing and getting something wrong and having to redo it all, and nobody likes to do that. So, and I did that for all of the background pieces. And again, I put down whether it goes to the house or whether it goes to the girl. the size. In this case, I've got a 3 here. That is because the F piece for the house block requires 3 pieces for 1 block. So there's a lot more than 3 here because I've cut out for all of my blocks. Now when I did the clothing, it got a little bit more tricky because I was using directional. But I wrote down the letter, that it was the dress, the size, how many I needed, and I even put a little note on here to watch the direction, because I knew when I got especially to these really tiny pieces, let me see if I can find one in here, around her hand, I wanted to make sure that they were still going all in the right direction. That was important to me. That may not be to you, but it is something that I really wanted to make sure that the dress was all going in the right direction. I did the same thing for the coordinating sleeves, put down that it was the arm in this case, or sleeve, the size, how many each one needs, and the letter that is in the book. And I did the same thing for her shoes. And also with really all of her pieces. Here I've got hand, the letter, and the size. And it just helped for me to write down whether it was hair, hand, the face, because by the time you get it all cut out, you feel like you've got a bazillion pieces, and I think you do. So I found that really was helpful for me, and in keeping it organized. And then I had a pile of the pieces that go to the Henhouse block and the pieces that go to the girl block. And then when I get the blocks done, that's when you attach them together. And I just found it to be really helpful. When I get finished with this, I don't know if I'm going to have my long armor edge to edge it, or if I'm going to try to do something more creative, because I really don't want to cover up the faces. I'll go back after it's quilted and put in the eyes to the chicken and to the girl. But I haven't figured that out yet, because it is going to be a really large quilt. That would be an awful lot to try to machine quilt on my sewing machine, especially since I'm really not good at that yet. I'm just barely starting on that, actually. So we'll have to see. But I found that labeling all these pieces and keeping the Henhouse block separate from the girl block and making little notations on all my little parts, that it went together much smoother. And when you look at the instructions in the book, you'll find that they refer to the pieces by just their letter, and a lot of times the number that they used for the fabric, because they do have a fabric chart in the beginning with a number system. But I didn't use those fabrics. I used something different. And I just found it was a lot easier for me to have the letters written down on a piece of paper with the size of what it was, and in several cases what it went to, as far as the roof or the hen house or the dress. And then of course definitely whether it was the house block or whether it was the girl block, because that was really important. I found out real quick that it was very confusing to have a set of alphabet blocks for half and then the same alphabet blocks for the other half, but different sizes and colors. And so that was the only way I found that it was going to work out really well for me to keep organized. So I'm hoping that perhaps this little tip will help you too. And let me know if you've made a Tilda Girl block and what things you might want to share. I am planning on making more. I've already got plans to make a Christmas Tilda block, the Daydreamer quilt, and the Windy Days. So I've got a lot planned ahead, and I'm really excited about that. With that being said, yes, I'm still working on my pixel quilt. I just find that sometimes I need a little breakaway and work on something else. But while I'm taking breaks and working on different things, I am trying to work on things that I have already started. I have decided that I, as a new quilter, already have way too many works in progress, and I am determined to finish some of those. This is my year of trying to use what I have so that I do not have to go out and try to get the newest thing on the market. Do I want to? Oh yes. Will I? Probably sometimes. But my plan is to really finish some of these projects that I have started, and I'm really excited because I've already banged a couple of them out this year. If you are not following me on my Facebook page, Mary Palmer Designs, or my Instagram, check them out because I do put my works in progress and my finished pieces on there. So I've sent a couple more things over to my long armor, and I'm excited. She does a great job, and I'm working on some other projects that I hope to have finished real soon. And in the meantime, let me know what you're working on, and let me know what you want to see for future content. I would love if you liked this video to give it a thumbs up. And if you don't follow me, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to be told of future content. In the meantime, thanks so much for sticking it out with me and letting me fumble through this video. I know that I am working on these, and hopefully very soon I will get much better at it. But in the meantime, thanks so much for sticking it out, and let me know what you think of this. You have a great day. Bye-bye.